So I connected Monique Judge with the family of the young man featured in the City Bike Karen incident. She did this interview, and this article answers pretty much any lingering question anyone might have. Let me start by saying this. I made the first video to call out her behavior and say, hey, this is dangerous. Don't do this. Every video that I have made since has been in response to the disinformation campaign launched by her and her attorney. One that, by the way, has made this young man collateral damage. Oh, and by young man, everyone likes calling her the pregnant woman and framing her as a victim. The young man in this situation is 17 years old. He is a boy who, quite frankly, acted more like an adult in that video than she did. And yet, with all the press running her side of the story, no one bothered to contact us to find out Michael's story, said his mother. So one of the questions that came up after his receipts were produced was why, if he had it for so long, was it so little? One said 37 cents, and the one where he took it out after said 0. And they were like, if he had it for all this time, why does it say no amount? Not being from New York and not using City Bike, I didn't know that you could be an annual member, like you have a membership, and people who have the membership can take out a bike and ride it for up to 45 minutes with no additional cost. And the fee only starts after the 45 minutes. So it's extremely common for people with this kind of membership to take out a bike, ride it for 45 minutes, then dock it so it resets, and take it back out and continue riding it. Michael said it's his preferred mode of transportation. It's cheaper than using the subway, and he's getting exercise. This is how he gets around the city. The other question was, why did she want his bike if there were other bikes available? It's because there's two different types of city bikes. There's the regular old school ones, and there's newer ones that are electric, that assist you in pedaling. Michael and his friends had the electric ones. He said he looked for 20 minutes before he found the one he had, which is why he didn't want to give it up, because he was continuing to use it and he needed to get back home. So he and his friends docked their bikes and they're talking. His friends were sitting on their bikes. He was standing next to his with his hands on the handlebars. And that's when she approached. He said she walked up to him and said, "Can I please have this bike?" Michael declined. He said, "No, I'm about to take it back out." She then told him, "I'm pregnant. Can you help a pregnant woman out?" Michael said he then told her, "I'm sorry, ma'am. I've ridden this bike all the way from the Bronx, and I need this bike to get home." And I believe he was that polite, because he was pretty damn polite in the video when she was screaming help in his face. Michael said that's when Sarah Jane Comrie moved closer to him and his bike, leaned over him, and scanned the QR code with her phone, even as he had his hands on the handlebars. Now remember, her attorney said that she got on an available bike and made a point to say, which no individuals were touching, and then as she backed up from the docking station, a group of 5 people approached her and claimed the bike was theirs, painting a picture of her being surrounded and them being thieves. His story says this is bullshit. No, he had his hands on it, she pushed her way onto the bike and attempted to remove it from the docking station to take it. It was 7:24 p.m., That's when the boys started recording video, because she started making a scene. But during that back and forth, it redocks, and he enters it back into his account. She sees this, and how does she respond? She snatches his phone out of his hand. The only actual attempted theft featured in the video. Her asking if she could use the bike acknowledges that it was in his possession, that he was standing with it. Her leaning across him and scanning it anyway is an entitled asshole move by any measure. But instead of owning that or just shutting up, they literally hire PR firms to write op-eds painting her as the victim and therefore painting him as the person who victimized her. And it worked, because when she posts redacted receipts and a story framing the boy as thieves, she gets all these supporters. A woman and a nurse who's pregnant gets slaughtered by the media and the left-wing cretins. Race baiters instead, who decided to staunchly defend a bunch of black youths, even though, again, it was the behavior. But when I post the receipts of the boys and their account, what proof do you have? So because the brother said it, it makes it true. When she says it, word is gospel. When they come back with a counterclaim, why would we believe this? Oh, but it does appear I was wrong about one thing, and I would like to acknowledge that now. I had said I didn't believe that this Twitter account, set up mere days before, claiming to be her attorney, was actually her attorney for multiple reasons. Like the fact that he was saying they were going to sue anyone who called her a Karen or anyone who retweeted that, which is a ludicrous idea and could never happen, and the fact that they couldn't even be bothered to spell foregoing correctly. So I gave the benefit of the doubt that this was not her attorney. But then that same account posted an unredacted version of her receipt, which I would think only her attorney would have access to, meaning this looks like it is her attorney's account. And now my opinion is he is a fucking moron. A moron who also goes on interviews and says shit like this.
Do you trust him to fairly investigate this, and if charges are warranted, bring them?
Quite candidly, we don't want charges for these individuals. My client has no ill will for these individuals. In fact, she wishes them the best. We think this is just a terrible mistake, a misunderstanding. We don't want the same scrutiny and misery that is applied to my client to go to these young men.
He says they don't want charges, but I think what he means to say is we don't want an investigation, because that might reveal that their account of things doesn't add up. And we don't wish them any ill will, but we will literally keep paying individuals like this for damage control that just happens to double as a smear campaign against this young man's character and the character of his friends. I've had a few people ask, why are you still talking about this? Because the damage is still being done. That last article was just posted like a day ago, and this young man has not had a voice. He's had no one standing up for him and letting his side of this be heard. I will say this, he and his family are absolutely setting up a GoFundMe. When they do, you better believe I will promote it, and I fully expect it to raise more than the $120,000 that she fucking raised.